Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. Our little show is back on the air again, and my good friend Dwayne Weiss is right here beside me to keep me under control.
That's right. We're back despite of protests and everything else, and petitions, police intervention.
I had a very nice encounter in Franklin up at Shaw's Market when I went in there to pick up my prescriptions.
What
A
happened?
fellow came up to me and said, "Excuse me." He said, "But you're Bill Crane." I said, "Right."
Depends, you say. What do you want? What do I do?
If you're looking for money, I'm not. So he said, I watch your program all the time. He said, "I got to tell you something. I love your program." He says, "You and your partner," he said, "man." He said, "No." He said, "I don't agree with you guys all the time."
They shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. That's
No,
right.
anybody
Yeah.
that agrees with us all the time. They don't have
An original thought, yeah. But he said, he says, "You're great at entertainment." So, Jim from Franklin, thanks a lot for being a loyal viewer.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear.
It is.
If you like us, you like us. You don't like us, you don't like us. Just don't ignore us.
Yeah.
That's all. We don't
That's
care.
exactly right. Watch us anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might say something smart.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Oh,
You
man.
can do like when I do when I'm watching a football game, and my wife will say, they can't hear you. When I say, "That is a stupid play. Why would you run a play like that?" She says, "What are you sitting there talking to the TV for?" I'm feeble. I don't know.
Well, my wife says the same thing to me. And who else am I going to talk to? You won't talk to me about football. You're over.
I don't watch. She's reading or knitting or something. Huh?
Oh, she's got the iPad.
Oh, okay.
She's got like one of those triangular rest things, and she's bloop, bloop, blooping while she's watching TV. I don't know whether she's doing justice to either the iPad or the TV, but she's there in the room.
That does get to be a bone of contention in our house, though, because that's one of the things. Remember we talked about what irks you?
Yeah.
And it bothers me is just to let the TV run with nobody watching it. I know people that turn it on in the morning and probably don't look at it for 10 minutes, but they always got it on in the background.
Yeah.
And I tell her when she's got she likes some of those less than stellar programs like Price is Right or something. I said, if you watch it, watch it. I don't care. But don't turn it on and pick up a Sudoku and sit there and do the Sudoku while that idiocy is running.
I can do both at the same time.
Yeah, right.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm paying attention. Yeah. Boy. So, anyway, either I get some important non-Middle East stuff.
All right.
Do you want to tackle that?
Yeah, sure.
And then maybe for the
Talk
second
about that.
half, we'll devote it to
I got some
the
stuff.
Mideast, and we'll see where that takes us.
Okay.
Because there's an awful lot of
Oh, my
moving
God.
parts there. Dwayne, I got some interesting news for you.
Yes, sir.
If you want to stay in the top 1% of the income club here in Massachusetts,
You know who you're talking to.
it's been raised to $777,700.
Oh, see, I see. 777,000.
77700.
I missed it by $1,000.
You'll get your paper out back.
I got to get the paper route back. Yeah, right.
Ay. By the way,
That's 1%, top 1%, huh?
that's top 1%, yeah.
Okay.
So this is a wealthy state, very wealthy state. Man alive, the things we do in this state, though. Woof.
Oh, I know. It's incredible.
Jim Cramer. Do you remember Jim Cramer from, 25 years ago, 30 years ago? He used to be Cramer and Kudlow, and they had an investment show on,
I know who
think
he
it was on CNN.
Yes, it was.
Well, Jim is now on MSNBC.
Okay.
And he still yells, but he has an investment club. How does this sound? For the small fee of $400 a year, you can get emails from Jim with his best ideas.
Okay. I'm sold.
You're going to pony up to the window with your
Yeah, you bet.
$400?
My contention of any of the things, if you got all these great ideas, why don't you just do them yourself and shut up?
Why are you sharing
You're
it
sharing
and
all this.
watering down
that's what I
the
mean.
profits? Yeah, I know. Exactly right. You're exactly right. 100%. So many of these guys are charlatans.
Oh, yeah.
Or they have an ulterior motive. And it's the more investment advice I give out, the more interest it may possibly transform into more interest in me and higher ratings.
That's true, too.
Yeah. Some of these guys are, and they're also, they have their own businesses, and it usually says who they're, the president of Oakmark Investments Incorporated. You'll look that up and you say, oh, he's got a mutual fund. Maybe I'll.
And there's always a disclaimer on those programs.
Yeah.
Way down the bottom. Investment involves risks. Investments are not guaranteed. You may lose all or part or all of your investment. So this guy's sitting, he don't care.
That's right. Let's see if he can get a few more people signing up for his mutual fund. That's
right.
Money in his pocket.
Yep.
It's a very, very disconcerting statistic. The news, there was a fellow that came on and he spouted some head counts of illegal aliens that have crossed into this country.
Oh, boy.
And he said that thanks to the getaways, the ones that came in totally,
There's a lot of getaways.
There is.
To find out.
and the ones that we have written their names down, but they have disappeared. Now we can't find them.
Gee.
He said there's 4 million people now in this country that we don't know who they are or where they are.
That's right.
He said that should keep you awake at night.
Yep.
And you know what?
It should.
It should.
But
Unbelievable.
particularly now, this past week or two.
Yeah.
You know, they're reporting, CNN and Fox, both of them are reporting of, 20, 30 Iranians and Palestinians and stuff are coming in, starting to come across the border. And when both sides agree on stuff like this, there's a problem.
That's right. Yeah. There's someone, though, that we all know and love that doesn't understand
No, he
this.
doesn't understand that.
That's our president.
Yeah.
It's like he's just taken the entire border situation and put blinders on. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't see it, it's not happening.
It's not a problem. Yeah. I personally, I worry about the guy right now.
Yeah.
Because if you watched him the last few days,
I did.
you almost can see day to day. I mean, yesterday, was even Israel yesterday, the day before. I mean, I didn't think he was going to get through that little speech he made. He just looks so frail and so
Do you know what was really most bothersome? He was talking to Netanyahu in their double sit down. And he had his little rolled up piece of paper. And you know, President Netanyahu, I think that we need to act together strongly as both of our countries have. Reading the whole damn thing. He couldn't even say, we're with you. And
the mental acuity is you can see draining by the day or the week.
Yeah. And you're right. He looked frail as hell.
Yep.
Now, you know what? I'm older than he is.
Yep.
I'll bet you that if I had to zip down to Washington, hop on Air Force One, fly over there, get out, take a shower, shave, and get in front of the cameras, I wouldn't be at the top of my game either.
None of us
You know?
would, because, but that's not our business.
That's right. Yeah.
Although, if it was you and him in a cage match, I'd bet on you.
Yeah. 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 He can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
He can't walk off the stage anymore.
Yeah. And him coming down the stairs on Air Force One is, you're saying to yourself, oh, please don't fall.
Don't fall. Yeah, let's not make a spectacle out of
Yeah,
this thing.
I mean, it's bad enough that you're shaky, but we don't need the national embarrassment of that.
Nope. You put a minimum wage on office holders, you should put a maximum age on office holders.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And office holders should be veterans too.
That's right.
And,
Absolutely. There's
And
no
boy,
question about
these
it.
times like this, it just is clearer and clearer and clearer.
It just reeks where they don't have any experience or any background in it.
None whatsoever. Well, I have a degree in economics from Harvard. Yeah. Oh, great. You know, that's perfect. You know, that's that's quite a deal. Now, I have an interesting little bit of information. I accidentally blundered into something.
Okay.
For years, 70 years, we have never known what became of the remains of Hideki Tojo.
Okay.
We hung him
Yep. As a war criminal.
in December of 1948 as a major war criminal. He was hung along with 6 others at night, or first thing in the morning, I guess. But yet, nothing was ever, the top secret. The U.S. Army did it, but it was labeled top secret. Nobody ever talked about it. So there's been speculation because we definitely did not want hero worshippers
That's exactly
going to the graveyard or going to where they spread his ashes or buried his ashes or whatever. So guess what? It became declassified last year and nobody realized it. So what happened was that they hung the 7 of them, then took them away to a crematorium, stood by for half an hour while they were incinerated, and then took them aboard a naval ship and went over 30 miles out into the Pacific and dumped the ashes over.
Did they do that with Osama bin Laden too? I think so.
I think
Yeah, they buried his ashes at sea.
yes.
So that nobody could go dig them up.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
That was smart.
they said, and they went beyond
Yeah.
the territory of Japan.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Out past there to no man's land out in the ocean and dumped them. And that was it. and it was a Army, I think he was a captain, that did the whole thing, supervised the whole thing.
Well, if they didn't, there would have been some fanatics that would have went and dug him
Exactly.
up and
Yeah.
started out as a relic or idol or whatever they call them.
Yep. Yep. So I thought that was interesting. So, folks, if you've been worrying about it, worry no more.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. There's an ad on television for vitamins that you can drink, super grapes.
Grape? Oh, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, but there's super beets too, and that whole family.
The one that
of-
turns my stomach is the green powder.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm interested in deceptive advertising. For your free 30-day supply of super grapes,
Yep.
call this number. You call the number, and they say, okay, you have to buy 2 to get the free one.
That's right.
Isn't that beautiful?
Plus, you usually got to sign up for a subscription that you're going to mail it you every 30 days. You're getting another supply, unless you somehow cancel it. And you sometimes got to jump through hoops. You got to write a letter. You got to do this. You got to do that to make it hard for you to cancel a thing too. Yeah, those things are really sneaky.
Yeah. So, boys and girls, if you're tempted to go for that free 30-day supply, don't waste your time. It doesn't happen. There is no free lunch.
No, there's not, and there's no fountain of youth out there either.
That's exactly right.
Those, particularly this is for you, us older guys. There's this ad about testosterone or whatever it is. Oh, he took this for 5 days, and my God,
Feels
he's
young all over.
young all over.
Yeah.
And he's a big hit with the women now. That's pure poppycock.
There's a disclaimer.
Yeah.
This product has not been checked by the FDA. We have no opinion of how whether
Big
it
one
works
is 2
or not.
words. Results vary. If it doesn't work for you and you complain, they say, well, you're the one that didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ay. And one more of my one-shot complaints. If I hear one more ad or see one more ad about guys, oh, I'm so upset. I'm balding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, God, yes.
Oh, and I have lost all my self-confidence, and I cry myself to sleep at night. And I've been bald since I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, it hasn't changed my life one damn iota.
That's right. You wouldn't recognize you otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel confident with women. I don't, blah, 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 blah. For heaven's sakes, if you get a good personality, you get a job, you have a clean appearance, you're a nice guy, you're a good conversationalist, do you think that growing hair is something women are going to crawl all over you for? I don't think so.
In fact, some women like bald guys better than hairy guys. So.
I mean, but if I see one more ad about, oh, boy, I've got to go to my hair restorer. I've restored my beautiful red hair.
We had a couple of friends, and he was bald.
Yeah.
And we met him when we moved. We both moved from Ohio. We got transferred here. And I had never seen him wasn't bald. You know, it was always bald. And we were going to go out one night to someplace. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. And he comes down the stairs, and he's got a toupee on. Monica looks at me, and I look at her, and oh, my God. He looked so silly with that toupee, but his wife did not want him to go out in public. She was the one that didn't like him being bald. So after we were out for a while, we had a couple of drinks, my wife says to him, Ron, would you take that stupid bird's nest you got in your head off? I said, Monica, all right, you got the point across, I guess.
Sledgehammer
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Well, tragically, the before we were married, Susie and I had a circle of friends our age that worked at the Foxborough Company that we socialized with and hung out with, and one of them was a nice guy, very shy, and really was balding. No one ever thought any different of him.
No.
No one.
No.
He was just one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
He went out and got a wig. Dwayne, if I found a muskrat dead on the road,
That's what this thing
okay,
looked like.
and brought it to him and I glued it on his head, it couldn't have looked any worse.
It's ridiculous, some of these things.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, it makes a difference, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had the wig for about 6 months. And once he put it on, I swear he never took it off again. Probably slept with it on.
Yep.
But about 6 months later, he went and bought an expensive one that looked better, but was still a wig, And it bothered him so much that he started mixing drugs and alcohol.
Boy, it really bothered him, didn't it?
Yes, it did. And committed suicide.
Yeah, he should have got mental help instead of a wig.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He had identity issues too. He was gay.
Yeah, frequently there's underlying factors. in
But
these
you
things.
know what? Not one person in our group ever said anything to him about it.
No.
I mean, he was just one of the guys that
Yeah.
hung out,
For the most
Hey.
part, other people don't care.
Right.
You're
But-
bald, you're gay, you're this, you're that.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It was a double whammy with
Yeah.
him. But yeah, it cared to him, though. It was just bad. Anyway, so Dwayne, I guess one of the things that, okay, so let me take it sort of in order here.
All right.
Suspect admits he killed Natalie Holloway.
Vandersloot.
Yep.
Yep.
18 years after the fact.
We stayed one of the times in Aruba. We've been on her several times. Right in that one building away from where
Yeah.
the murder was committed.
He committed the murder in the sand right at the ocean.
Palm Beach. It's up to where the hotels are.
And he bludgeoned her to death.
Yeah, supposedly with they called it we see it as a cement block, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of a convoluted kind of thing where they offered him a deal.
Well, you know why? His father is first of all, Aruba is a Dutch protectorate from
Right.
the Netherlands. His father is a official in the Dutch government that administers Aruba.
Uh-huh.
He's a spoilt little
Yeah.
rat.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the kind of kid that could do anything he wants, because my father is like I don't know what they call him,
Administrator.
Netherlands
Governor
administrator
probably
for,
or something, yeah.
for Aruba. So
Right.
he was always whatever he wanted. They raised with servants, and they had all this stuff. So he had no discipline about him at all.
Right.
If he didn't like what he did, he could do anything he wanted
Yeah.
to, and that's why he wasn't jailed right away.
Right.
And they
Right.
let this thing go on for so long. But what his downfall was, he killed a Peruvian.
Right. It ended up in a Peruvian prison.
One of the worst prison systems in the world. And this thing too, I saw when he was trying to get back here to be tried in a U.S. court. The idea, I'm sure, was, well, now I'll try to get tried in a U.S. court and put in a U.S. prison for a number of years, because that, to me, that's going to be like a vacation from the Peruvian prison.
And then the Peruvian thing will go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'll do my 20 in
2080, I think he got in Peru.
yeah, I'll do my I guess in Alabama it's about 20 years.
Yeah.
And he'll probably walk after 12
Yeah,
or
because
14 or something, yeah. But imagine having 18 years of what happened to my daughter? You know she was killed.
Well, then a sleazebag tried to extort $250,000 from the Halloway family to tell where the body was.
I think that was the beginning of
Yep.
discovery,
Exactly.
if you will. I mean, but this was all planned by him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, to weasel out of
the
Peru.
Peruvian
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah.
Because if he could get from a Peruvian prison to a federal prison or a state prison here, I mean, that's like night and day.
Well, it's like you and I finally heading into Boston and staying at the most expensive hotel in town.
Compared to a Peruvian prison.
Interesting. Well, I tell you what,
I'm glad that he has to go back to Peru to finish there first.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah, he's got to go back. Well, they decided yesterday it was on online.
Oh, okay. That wasn't.
He has to go back to, the way I understood the online was, he has to go back to Peru now, finish his Peruvian time, then he's going to come back, when he's done the Peruvian, to face the U.S. charges.
But
they said he will be eligible to get out of Peruvian prison in 2038, I think. But he cannot be charged with the murder of Halloway because the statute of limitations in Peru or in Aruba have run out.
Yeah.
They have a 12-year or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to say I'm happy for the family, but I'm not. But I'm glad that they finally are. I've got that cloud over them relieved.
Because every time they tried to do something, they ran up against this diplomatic wall that he had set up.
That's a shame. I'm not big on closure. It's an overused word as far as I'm concerned. I mean, almost meaningless to me.
It is meaningless.
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, I have closure. Oh, my
circumstances didn't change.
My father passed away, and I grieved for a while, and then, we all got closure. What is that? I mean, the Wall Street Journal. Great publication.
I like it.
And I wrote on the outside of this particular one, timing is everything. Friday, October 6th.
Yep.
Army plans 10% cut to elite special forces. Of all the times in our history when we should have a strong elite force group, we should not be cutting them, is when we've got problems in the Middle East, when we're trying to support a mess in the Ukraine, and where we have China huffing and puffing in the background. That's when we should be cutting our armed forces?
Well, they have a problem.
Well, they can't get enough good ones.
Can't get enough people.
Yeah.
The
Now-
as of yesterday, only the Marines are meeting
Yeah.
their enlistment quotas. Their
Yeah. I think the Air Force is
Air Force.
tickling along behind, but nonetheless. But of all the bloody time, and of course, President Biden has been trying his damnedest to cut the defense budget.
Yeah.
And the House and the Senate won't have any part of it, but they're not adding to it. We should have a defense budget that's growing 10 to 15% annually.
That's right.
My God Almighty, just to replace obsolete equipment.
That's right. We got our inventory is starting to
Yeah.
age.
Well, of course, we left so much behind in Afghanistan. I mean, if you were going to court-martial somebody for making that decision, just the tanks and the equipment, the jeeps,
Everything. It's from
artillery,
kitchen equipment down to
Yep.
mortars and howitzers and everything else.
billions of dollars of military equipment they couldn't get out of there fast
That
enough.
was a huge blunder.
That was,
But again, that's a guy that has no idea
that's right.
what the military is, or how it works, or how big it is, or how complicated it is. To him, it's like, oh, we load up the plane and we go.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what? Every time, this is cruel, and it sounds like I harp on this too much, but when I look at him, all I can see is Alfred E. Newman. What me worry?
You know, I see Walter, the ventriloquist.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Oh, crap. He's really good. He's got.
Well, the one,
Jeff Dunham.
Yep, that's it. Thank you. Jeff Dunham,
Oh, okay. Never
Our-
heard of him.
our astute producer there, bailed us out again. Jeff
All right.
Dunham. He is one of the best ventriloquists that I think has ever been.
Yeah, well, you know, when they had Jerry Mahoney and Paul Winchell on,
Yeah.
I mean, when they'd panned to Winchell, he wasn't even a ventriloquist. He was just talking.
Yeah. This guy can do two or three at the same time, and the voices change. You don't see a movement.
And Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarty from the radio days.
Yeah, well, the radio days,
Yeah.
that was easy.
I mean, it was really simple, yeah.
But he has that one with Walter. The only thing he needs, Walter's a grouchy old fart.
Okay.
The only thing he needs is Walter's eyebrows go up and down when he talks. Biden's doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's as though, I don't know, a checker game.
Yeah.
I think that, I'll move this checker over here. Ay, ay, ay.
Watch for Jeff. He's on a lot of different channels.
Oh, okay.
But watch for him and see if Walter doesn't look like Biden or Biden look like Walter.
Vice versa.
Only thing is Walter's got a really edgy attitude. You know, if there's somebody he's doing his up there, and some woman will get up and walking out, and he'll stop and, where the hell are you going? and he says, you went to the bathroom when she comes back, didn't you? Yeah, we all heard you. We heard you. The woman's kind of getting all.
I'm watching the wrong TV shows. I watch sports. Who am I kidding? RFK Jr. is now running away from both parties.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to try to run as an independent. I think he's probably going to try to hook on to one of these splinter groups
I believe so.
where the framework is already there
Yeah.
and they're on the ballots in different states.
At least he's going to be an equal opportunity spoiler. Because he's got a bunch of some Democrats that follow him, and now he's got some Republicans that follow him. It's like the fringe element of each side.
You know, sometimes he talks like a Republican.
Oh yeah.
And the Democrats are turned off by this, but he still is Robert Kennedy's son, and
He's playing on the fact that he's part
got
of that
the
Kennedy group.
name.
Yep.
Um,
I don't know what you think. I think he's a nutcase.
Oh, yeah. And I think, though, it will hurt the Democrats more than the Republicans.
Probably, yeah.
But what happens if neither of the Republican or the Democratic gets enough votes in the Electoral College? What happens then?
They split that
And
up enough,
he is in the position with 11 electoral votes, and he becomes the deal maker.
Yeah, that's scary.
That is very scary.
That's terrifying, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because, as you say, I don't think he's very solid.
No.
That could be, you know what, with all the stupid things going on in Washington, that could be the cherry right on top of the sundae.
Yeah, with all the problems we've got in Washington, we don't need that on top of it.
That's right.
That's
But boy, we get a handful of problems down there. We
sure
don't
do.
have a speaker, and the Republicans are making fools of themselves.
Bill, I don't know about you, but I know you've been Republican all your life, and I voted for Republicans. I've been listed almost as independent all the time, but there's probably been 2 Democrats in my life that I ever voted for, and not because they were one side or the other. I just happened to agree with their philosophy. But today, after this turmoil in the election process and the infighting and stuff, that our Republican Party is going to walk away from this. We won't recognize it. It's something totally different than what we grew up with.
Donald Trump is the main reason it's going to change,
Yep.
because he is not a Republican.
Well, he was
He's
a Democrat,
yes.
a big Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
He,
But he's a populist.
yeah.
And he does not, there's a scoreboard over here. Republicans do this. They're physically
That's right.
sound. They're they're defense first, country first, blah,
But
blah,
like
blah,
the party
blah, blah.
platform
Yeah.
sitting there.
It doesn't check off all those
No, he
spots
doesn't.
at all. He wants to go to the people and say, vote for me because I'm going to straighten out this mess. Blah, 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 blah. So the Republican Party is changing.
Yeah.
And
Well, so is the Democratic Party.
yeah,
Because they got AOCs. They got the Michigan Muslim there, and not that I got nothing wrong
That-
being a Muslim, but God
Yes.
Almighty, she's half terrorist. I think.
listen, she should be admonished
Yeah.
by the Democratic Party. They should say, you are bad.
I was thinking more deportation. But
Well, they deport their own also
I know.
by changing their offices to the cellar
cellar, yeah.
across the street in the other building or something. And take her off the committees.
yeah.
I mean, show us that you care, the Democratic Party. Just do something strong. Well, that would, erode away some of our support. Meh.
And then you look at the representatives and the senators, and you, my God, where do they get some of these people? And both sides of the aisle. I mean, it's not one party doesn't have a chokehold on these kind of
Yeah.
groups because they each got their
They're each equal opportunity parties, I'll tell you. Again, my Uncle Matt told me, politics is like a football field. Most of the game is played in the middle.
Yep.
But watch out when you get to the one end of the field or the other, whether it's offense or defense. That's where all the nuts are.
Yep. Exactly.
The normal people are in the middle. He said the extremists are on the ends. He said stay away from them. He was
Oh.
a politician.
Well, he's right, you know.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember that. I mean, I remember Matt dying of cancer, quite frankly, and sitting in his living room and talking with him. And he was feeble. And we got talking about politics, and he said, I'm going to give you some advice. A big Democrat, by the way. But he said, stay away from the extremes. That's where the crazies live.
Yep.
So
Careful who you vote for, they might get elected.
that's exactly right. So guess what? Governor Charlie Baker proposed a tax cut before he left office, well before he left office, and said, we need to do this. Democrats agreed with it,
Right.
but they would not pass it
Yep.
because he was an R and not a D.
That's right. You don't.
So, look what Healy does. The first thing, a tax relief bill. And if you look at it, the numbers are a little changed. And
A little
there's
tweaky here,
yeah.
tweaky there. That's all it
But
is.
it's Governor Baker's tax
The whole
relief
thing, right?
program.
Beginning to end.
Yep.
Yep.
And she's got her name on
Well,
it
of
now.
course she does.
And guess what? It passed on a voice vote unanimously.
It's got the D on the bottom.
That's it, exactly.
In this state, that's
That's the magic potion.
it sure is. Oh my God! You can look at this. Did you see that article here? Somebody wants to audit the legislature.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
The auditor. Yeah.
The audacity to make public what we do. You taxpayers have no right to know how we spend your money. Trust me, that's what.
You know, there are states that are run well, and they do everything in public.
That's right. Everything is exposed. Everything's open to scrutiny.
But yet, when it comes down to Massachusetts passing the budget,
Yeah.
and we have to do it by a certain day, well, about 2 days before, they all go behind closed doors.
And these-
The doors are locked.
And 2 o'clock in the morning, all these little things are
That's
getting all
right.
passed, and nobody ever knows anything about what happened.
Yeah. Now, Dwayne, you want this bridge in your town. All right, look, I want this in my town. And they sit there and horse trade.
Yeah.
And the speaker basically stands there with a stick and whacks them. You got to do this, that.
Exactly. But never was the public to know how their money is spent
Yep.
or what they're doing with it. That is so ridiculous.
You know, Will Rogers had a great line. 2 things you don't want to see. Sausage being made and legislation being agreed upon.
Two great points.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's the same exact thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But what a comedy. I mean, from what I can see, Governor Healy hasn't had an original thought in her entire life.
Well,
but
we go
boy,
back-
she glommed onto this relief program, though.
Bill, I think we're so right, and her motivation for being governor is not being governor. Governor is just a step.
Cabinet member.
Yep. She
That-
wants something to Washington.
That's exactly right.
She doesn't care what happens here. She just,
Yeah.
I'll take whatever I can get credit for. If it goes in the hopper, I don't know anything about it. If it's good, I'll take credit for it. Just look at me.
Yeah, and if
Is,
it's
is there a camera there? Oh, I'll go there.
or if it's bad, I'll have a phony veto.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they'll change 2 things in it, and then okay, I'll sign it now. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But-
she's one of those, the pointer. Whose fault how come this failed? Whose fault is it? It's this.
Oh, look at how she ran the Attorney General's office.
That's right.
I mean, look at the drug testing laboratory. And the fact that she hid some of this stuff, actually hid this stuff.
Not only
She
that,
was involved in
yeah.
that.
But you remember what they used to say about the Attorney General's office with her? It's where cases go to die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
It
what
is
did
like,
she do most? What was she most famous for? Constantly bringing lawsuits against Microsoft or some company in California that
oil
had
companies.
that had nothing to do with Massachusetts at all.
Yeah.
Wasting our time and our money in our office.
And you know what else consumed her time? The year of 2016 when Hillary was running for president.
Yep.
Because she abandoned the Attorney General's office and went door to door across the USA humping for
Yeah,
Hillary.
She'd be out flying
Yeah.
to Kansas someplace, stumping
Yeah.
for Hillary.
Out there for the beef festival. Yeah, and she doesn't eat beef. But hey, listen, she tried her heart out because Hillary was going to bring her to Washington.
That's right.
She thinks of herself as the Attorney General in waiting.
Oh, positively.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
sees herself as a federal official, not state.
Yeah. And even maybe some federal judgeship, even as a stepping stone to the Supreme Court. Oh yeah, this little girl has got quite a set of ambitions,
Yep.
and she's shameless about it.
Well, look at us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we're one step away from hosting 60 Minutes. It's probably by next week we'll be.
Well, you know what? When I was talking to Jim,
Yeah.
I was saying to myself, you know, Dwayne and I should be doing endorsements for Chevrolet.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, or some fly-by-night roofing company or something. Endorsed by Bill and Dwayne. Oh, good Lord. I'm going to skip this one because I want to spend more time on it, and I really want to get into this one, and we'll do that some other time. Another bit of agony here. Women face bias in special ops units. Female soldiers face rampant sexism, harassment, and other gender-related challenges in male-dominated Army Special Operations units, according to a report Monday, 8 years after the Pentagon opened all combat jobs to women. You know what?
We get 10.
Okay. In women's mind, I can't say that. I've never been a woman, so I don't know what goes on in women's minds. But I think that when faced by orders, direct orders, stated unequivocally, I don't think women are as comfortable as men accepting those orders, especially when they come from men to the women.
Well, I think there's a certain percentage of women would regret being ordered by men.
Oh yeah, yeah. But we've been in the service.
Mm-hmm.
We know what getting orders are like.
Yeah.
Yeah. You take them
That's just.
and you do them.
Yep.
You don't sit down and say, well, wait a minute now. You're talking to me like I'm just a toy here, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm intelligent and you shouldn't be barking at me like that and all. I don't know. Maybe time is fleeting here and I'm an old goat that needs to go out to pasture. But I don't think that we want women on the front lines in combat. Physically,
Yeah. I don't know about it. See, I don't. I still have a protective mode because of our age.
yes,
About you don't let women go out there. But on the other hand, if they want to, and they can, I'd let them. But I got some qualms about it too. What I did not like was when they gave positions and then wouldn't let them go into combat. You could let a female could go to flight school in the Air Force or the Navy and fly F-18s and off a carrier, but at one point she couldn't go into combat. Well, you just took a spot away from a combat position
true.
and you just killed that spot. She can fly around the boat now if she wants to, but she can't make a bombing run, or supposedly she couldn't. That was just plain stupidity, and that was pandering to the both sides.
Yeah.
But I see, you've got she has to be realized too that, and people have to realize that as a female, she puts herself in greater danger today than even a man would. If she gets shot down, what they will do to her, certain factions, is unthinkable.
We only have to look at the pictures
Yeah.
from the Hamas
That's right.
atrocities to understand what happens to women
Yeah, she
when
has
they're
to,
put in that
a woman has
kind
to
of-
understand that's what she's putting herself into.
That's exactly right.
It wasn't a lot different than a Jewish soldier in Second World War going to fight in Germany. He knew that if he got captured, he's dead meat. But they went in the idea that that's what they were doing.
There are nearly 2,200 female soldiers. That's nearly 8% of the 29,000 active special ops kind
Special
of people
ops.
that we have in the Army.
Now they could even have an advantage in covert operations because the other side's not looking for a woman.
So, something else just occurred to me too, Dwayne, and that is that argument can be turned around with guys not wanting to take orders from women.
Absolutely. There's been many cases, not so much here. You don't hear about them, but there's been cases where what was it? It was an airline that the voice told them the warning. You have a warning system in a cockpit. And if something's wrong, not only the bells and whistles go off, but there's a warning, and it's usually a woman's voice because they found out that a man will listen normally to a woman, catches his ear right quicker. And it said something about airspeed, pull up, do this, do that. And these two guys from, I don't know what airline, some Mideast airline, didn't do it. And they didn't do it fast enough. And they crashed. And the conclusion was, after all the investigation, was that they were reluctant to
follow
act quick
that.
because it was a woman's voice telling them what to do.
And of course, we know where women are on
Yeah, and
the
there's-
ladder.
that's-
They're on the bottom rung in the Middle East. No, in fact, they're not even on the bottom rung.
Well, they're
They-
one step over a goat, but under a camel.
Yeah. Here's a news flash. IRS ending unannounced visits to taxpayers. The IRS has had a policy of just dropping in on Dwayne. Hey, open up, IRS. We're here to look at your tax records. They've finally agreed to stop that and schedule
Yeah,
appointments.
well, they did that for years.
I mean, talk about the Gestapo. Wow. Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
41% of contact sports athletes who died young has CTE.
More and more, I think you're going to find on that. They're even looking at soccer heading like in high school kids that are head.
Why don't soccer players wear helmets?
Good question.
I mean, that would make a lot of the heading problem
Heading
go away.
hurts.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I was a soccer coach and a soccer referee, and heading really can hurt. I mean, I didn't. After a while, I went in some of these seminars. I just wouldn't do it.
Those balls are not soft.
No,
They get plenty of air pressure in them.
and some of them come at you hard,
Yes.
and you take that thing right off the front forehead here.
You know, I enjoyed the sport of football. But more and more, I'm turned off by the violence, especially deliberate violence.
That's what me too.
Headhunting.
Yeah.
And it seems to me
Too.
that the National Football League and college football do not mete out the proper punishment.
No, they don't.
Yeah, or you get 2 games suspension
Yeah.
for headhunting when a guy deliberately rams his helmet into another guy's head.
Now go back before they had penalties for that, and they still do it today. I've often said that hitting the quarterback is not necessary. These guys are athletes. They say, well, the quarterback just threw the ball, and I'm 2 steps away from him. I had to hit him. You didn't have to hit him.
No,
'Cause
you
if
didn't have to at
when
all.
when you go to catch if a receiver catches a pass, I mean, he can go and jump 30 feet in the air and land within 2 inches. And these guys have got the athletic ability to step over 6 inches, step this way, and not kill the guy.
Even if we bought the argument that an abrupt move at that time would be awkward and I could have a knee injury, continue into the quarterback, but hug him. Don't
That's right.
throw him on the ground. Don't
right.
hit him. Hold him.
Yep.
I mean, is that so hard?
They don't run into the kicker anymore.
No. Right.
Rarely.
Yeah, that's right. It's a disaster getting set to happen sometimes.
But
when
you know,
watch.
I think wrap up. I guess we've got to. I think the culture is there, and they're afraid that they're going to change the game, and they're going to turn off the audience.
Sissify it. Yeah. All right, folks, listen, it's come time for the break. So whatever you folks do at breaks, do it now. And we'll be back shortly.